Hello, this is Paul.
Hey, Paul, Chapin Hemphill with Keyrenter Property Management.
Hi, Chapin. How are you?
I'm really, really good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, thanks for calling. I'll let you run the show, but yeah, I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about what you're offering.
Absolutely. So just real quick, just to kind of go through how this call works best is, the purpose of this call is to learn more a bit about you, your property, and your management needs, as well as share information about my company and how we can support you. By the end of the call, you'll have insight into the process, and we'll understand if we're a fit or not. That's that's obviously one of our outcomes. And then, I'd like to start hearing about you and your needs, and then we can give you an overview of us and what we do. And there's no pressure to make any decision today. In fact, we just want to see if we want to go to next steps, and I'll explain what those are at the end of the meeting. But that's the structure of the call. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Do you have before we dive into that, do you have any specific questions about property management that you'd like answered?
Not necessarily. I watched your webinar, which was very helpful, and I've been through your website, and I've just been researching property management in general.
Great.
Yeah, let me back up a bit. So I have it's a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhome in Sunnyvale, which I bought back in 2007, and so I've lived there 12 years, a little over 12 years. So I just recently moved with my family down to Santa Barbara. So we're pretty far away, still in California, but pretty far away. And I've been wanting to rent it out. I was pretty much on the fence about whether to use property management or not. But I've kind of discovered being remote and having family here, it's pretty hard to do things remotely. I do have some family back in the Bay Area, which has been helpful. Like, oh, can you meet this worker or something? But I pretty much realized I do need someone local to help out with this stuff.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Is there a renter in there now, or have you had a
renter?
No,
so it's currently vacant. Let's see, we moved in May, and last couple of months, I got new floors installed. It's been repainted. Just doing a lot of fix-up work. I'm very much trying to target as a high-end rental. To target more like Bay Area, like tech employee kind of thing. I work in tech. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me take a look at the property while we're sitting here. It's 134 Holly Terrace.
That's correct.
Okay. And having a problem finding it on Zillow. I wonder why that is. Hang on. Give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure. Sometimes, have you checked the data on Zillow? Because sometimes their data is different than what the reality is.
Yeah, it should be accurate.
All right.
Are you having an issue with what's on Zillow?
No, I'm just I'm trying to find it on Zillow.
134 Holly, Holly.
Yeah. Is it Avenue?
Holly Terrace.
Oh, right. Huh. Weird. Well, in any event, let me just do a full Google search here. 184 Holly Terrace.
Sorry, 134.
34.
134.
Holly. All right, there we go. 2 bed, 2 bath, 1,468 square feet. So you bought it in 2004, or are you the second owner?
I bought it in 2007. I'm the second owner. Previous owner bought it when it was brand new construction.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, you know, I can just see sort of exteriors of the property, and really the next step, we're kind of skipping forward a little bit, but the next step would be for me to come and visit you at the property. And
Hmm.
well, but you can't, so maybe just me visiting the property if you're down in Santa
Yeah.
Barbara.
So again, like I do have family local who, they could put a lockbox, outside, or they could meet you.
Okay.
My mom is close by. So, if we set up a time or something, it's definitely possible to make an appointment with her.
Okay, so we can.
I also have, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying we're kind of jumping ahead. Let's.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Let's back up. What else would you like to know?
Well, tell me. So, what are some of the things that make this property special?
It makes it special. I mean, definitely location. Yeah. So I lived there a long time with my wife, and I've got a 20-month-old now, and another one due actually in about 3 weeks. But yeah, I mean, we love the location. It's very close to downtown Sunnyvale. So we were able to walk downtown to farmers market every weekend and stuff. It's a very quiet, nice complex. It was built kind of just before the housing boom. If you look on that street on Evelyn, there's townhouse complexes up and down that whole street. This was kind of the first complex to be built, and so I've been to a lot of open houses on other ones, and they all seem just kind of smaller and more crammed in, and not as much greenery and things like that. So this was kind of just before the housing boom, but just before everyone kind of got greedy on real estate. So it's a wonderful complex. It's very roomy inside. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but the bedrooms are roomy. Good size everything. So it's worked out very well for us.
Are there amenities? Is there a swimming pool or a fitness center or
at the complex? It's really just there's a playground. There's no other swimming pool or gym or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Great. So the timeline. It's vacant. You're probably looking to rent this right away.
Yeah. So I'm having someone clean it today. Actually, I'm trying to schedule a rekeying of the locks right now. Again, it's a little harder to do everything remotely, but pretty much after that, it's ready to be rented. I've been targeting kind of a start the lease in summer. That's when most people are looking for places. So, definitely July to August timeframe is when I'm targeting to hopefully get a tenant in.
Okay. So got it. And what are your long-term goals? Is it just are you moving back in the next year or two, or is this going to be a rental for the foreseeable future?
I would definitely lean towards it's going to be a long-term rental. We are renting right now in Santa Barbara, but I think we're probably going to settle here. And it's kind of been my dream for a long time to be able to get and maintain a rental property and just have that income stream. So no, we don't have any plans to move back there.
Excellent. Well, I mean, it's a great choice, right? Sunnyvale or Santa Barbara. Let's see. Okay, so do you have a price range and rent in mind?
From what I've been able to tell, just kind of looking at Craigslist and Zillow, and I've actually had other property management companies, just based on the address, give me a rough estimate. Though granted, that's without seeing the inside or anything like that. If I had to guess, I would say between 3,500 to 4,000 is what I had in mind.
All right. So, so what I'm understanding, and just what I'm hearing, just to make sure we've got everything, we're aligned here. This is going to be a long-term rental. As far as you can tell, quiet complex with there's some maturity with the complex, with the landscape, and just the larger style condos that they were building in 2004. There's a playground. and it's ready. It's basically ready to rent right away for $35,000 to $4,000. What I'm going to do with that, the rent, I'm going to do an analysis for you. And when I do an analysis, I dig in deep. I don't just pull a report and say, here it is. I look at several reports and I kind of hone in on what I feel is like an accurate number. And then obviously after visiting the property, I can be more specific on that number, and we can have a great conversation about what I think that rent is, a marketing strategy, and how to push forward with all that.
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable start. I could certainly send you. I took a bunch of pictures, basically right before I left, just so if you want to get a better idea, if that would help you.
Sure. I mean that's great. I'm gonna go there. If you want to move forward, I'm gonna go there and check it out myself, and then we take more professional style photos. Not to discredit your photos, I haven't seen them yet, but we take professional photos with professional equipment and video, and when we list it, they look amazing. You can always go to my website and look at some of the examples of our marketing. I think they look great. So just a little bit about me. I know you've done your research on me. Did you have any specific questions about me, or any lingering thoughts about what we do at our company and how we can help you?
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions. Not necessarily just about you, but just general things that were not answered in the webinar or on your FAQ. How many properties do you manage?
We have about 130 doors now.
Okay. And then, how many employees do you have?
6.
And does that handle, do you have in-house handyman, or are they more like accounting? Do you outsource repairs?
So we have there's me, there's my wife, who she really kind of operates as operations. She makes sure that things are in compliance. She oversees our renovations. She just does some things here and there. She's amazing. I think she's wonderful, obviously. Then we have a field manager. We have a property manager kind of oversees property management, a field manager. We have 3 admins, and then we actually have an on-site. One of our properties is a larger apartment complex, and so we have an on-site manager there.
Okay.
And so each person has their role. There's specific seats that everyone sits in, and everyone knows their job. With that group, I just basically cover all the areas that we need to cover to make sure we deliver an awesome service. And that, the plan with that changes over time as we grow. We'll be hiring more people, and some duties may shift around. But for the most, what I like to do, and what my plan is with this company, is to make sure that we have the capacity to handle new properties when we receive them. So we're at a stage where the staff is there. We're ready to receive properties without skipping a beat, and then the ongoing plan is to continue on that trajectory, so we don't fumble. We're not fumbling balls or anything like that. So that's the plan.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of questions here. So how do you handle showings? Is it do you have open houses, or is it by appointment only after you've screened a tenant, or how does that typically work?
Yeah, so we do a couple things. We do by appointment only, and we do blocks of time. So our field manager would act as the leasing agent in that case, and would go out, and so if there's 2 or 3 people that want to see the property on Tuesday, we block them into a certain amount of time, and she's there to receive them. That's one way we can do it. The other, in addition to that, we offer self-showing. So we have a lockbox on the door, and people can show the properties to themselves at their convenience, which really, really helps the conversion process. We get a lot more people in there when we offer that, and all of those people are pre-screened. We have copies of their driver's licenses and so on and so forth. And so we've never, I know the first thought on that with an owner is, you're letting somebody into my property and no one's supervising.
that was my first thought, but okay.
and totally understandable. What I can tell you is that we vet the people that are going in there, and we've never had an issue.
Okay.
And so, sometimes we'll even get a phone call, hey, I can't close the lockbox, and then we'll send somebody over there. We'll make sure that they're taken care of. But for the most part, I mean, we've never had any vandalism or theft, and I'm going to knock on wood, but there's enough, there are enough things in place to dissuade that kind of thing. So.
Okay, that makes sense. How long does it typically take, like, to rent a unit? Like, from the time that, like, you saw it and you said, okay, like, ready to go, we're starting the process. Does it take months, weeks?
No, so it's been a good year. Normally, I would say it's about 3.5 week average from putting it on the market to having an approved application, right? And there's usually 1 or 2 applications that come, they don't qualify, and we like it when applications don't qualify, because that means we're doing our screening right, because not everyone's going to qualify. A lot of people will want it, but not everyone's going to qualify for it. And so that process is usually about 3.5 weeks. This year, I would say it's a little bit better. It's been closer to 2.5, 3 weeks. I can tell you this, Sunnyvale has been especially strong. And I've have a bunch of properties in both Sunnyvale and Mountain View that this year rented in a week or less, and which is lightning fast. And I don't want to tell you that that's what's going to happen, but we've had a strong year in terms of in these quick rental conversions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be overconfident either, but literally everyone that I've talked to has said, like, oh, I know someone who's looking. I even had a plumber come to install the dryer, and he said, oh, when you rent this place, like, can you email me and let me know?
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of demand in Sunnyvale for sure.
There's a lot of demand in Sunnyvale, and really this is going to be an exercise of making sure the marketing reflects what somebody's looking for. If we want to be aggressive, and I often suggest that we're a little aggressive for the first 5 days to see if we capture just somebody that needs it now. That's the place. They love it. They want it. And that happens more often than not in Mountain View and Sunnyvale, where I'm just surprised at the rent that I get, pleasantly surprised. And so we try that for the first 5 days, and if that's not working, then we scale it back a little bit.
Okay. Do you have like a backlog of people who have already come to you and said, like, hey, I want to rent the place, and you're kind of waiting to place them, or does each place just kind of start fresh, like advertising?
Well, no, we actually let people know who were interested in properties in the area recently. Yeah, we let them know that there's a new property up. My vacant, or my available properties page, what do we call it at the website, our search rentals page is very active. I mean, I get thousands of hits a month on this page. It's just people looking at what we've got, and there's the videos and the photos really keep them here, and so yeah, the short answer is yes, we reach out to people who have recently looked at our at properties in the area, and but again, we usually have very, very quick success with all of these efforts that we do. So
okay. And then, Leah, last question I had here was, who actually has the final say in who the property is rented to?
We do, and you don't want that any other way. And I'll explain quickly why. There's a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk in selecting a tenant. There are very, very strict criteria that are required by the state of California that you have and that you clearly define. And if somebody meets that criteria, you have to offer the property to them. You can't say, here's our application process and here's the criteria to pass. They pass, and then you say, well, I don't like how many kids you have. Sorry, you just can't do that. And you don't want to make that decision unless you have all of your ducks in a row. It'll just lead to a fair housing problem, and so it's one of those risks that we alleviate, we take away from you, and we put on ourselves. And so, but what I can assure you is that our screening process is really, really good. It operates at a very high level. I've taken best practices from all of the places I've worked and put together a process that really has ensured a lot of success for us. I haven't had an eviction in 3 years, and I've had one in the last 3.5 years. So that eviction rate's like not even 1%. We don't have evictions here. We are able to screen very good residents, and then if a problem arises, which they do, we communicate well to resolve it, and we don't let things go to eviction. That's no guarantee that it would never happen, but we have a lot of processes in place that mitigate that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the reasons for that. It was a little surprising. I heard some other companies doing that, and I mean, I'm coming from a good standpoint. I feel mainly because I get along well with my neighbors, and I kind of promise them like, no, don't worry, I'll find a good person to rent this to. I don't want to put a problem tenant in place for them.
Yeah, absolutely, and frankly, you're anyone's mindset is I want to get the best. I want to have a respectful, tenant that pays rent on time and doesn't destroy my property. I mean, obviously that's who we're looking for. That's our target tenant. We've had good luck with finding tenants like that, but sometimes not. Sometimes they're not as clean as you hoped or whatever. But they've paid their rent on time. We handle any issues, any costs associated with cleaning up the property with their security deposit, and overall, it's worked. It's our system has served us well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was all the questions I had. Did you have anything else you'd like to cover?
Well, for me, it's really talking about next steps. I like I said, I'd like to put together this rental analysis for you and go visit the property and have a follow-up call where we can talk a little bit. I mean, for you and me, let's have a follow-up call on the rental analysis, and then we go from there.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fair. I'm looking at maybe I've been in contact with maybe 4 other rental management companies.
Sure.
It seems like the costs are pretty much in line. They're all very similar. Some are a little more like a la carte. We charge 7% of the gross rent, but then there's a lot more. So if you want this, it's an extra, blah blah. So I haven't seen a drastic difference in price, I guess. I've been going off kind of reviews and stuff. You do have a lot of very good testimonials, and I appreciate just the more personal touch. Also, you're the only companies offered to just let's call and let's talk.
Oh,
so
really?
That's nice.
That's amazing. Well, I don't know if we talked about our pricing, and I'll just quickly. I'm glad you've been speaking to others because you can understand how we as property managers structure our fees. But for me, it's really there's two lanes. There's the leasing, and then there's the ongoing management. We charge a $695 leasing fee when we lease it, and then when we renew the lease, we add all the new. So if we have a multi-year tenant. Every year we are increasing the rent. We're adding the new addendums that we need to or should add, and any new language in the leases, which changes every year. By the way, with California, there's always something new, and so we do a whole new lease. It's like a whole new fresh package of documentation and contracts. And so for that annually we charge $295. And then our ongoing property management is 7%, and that covers everything that everyone has told you a property manager does. So it's pretty basic scope. I mean, there's a lot involved with property management, but essentially we're making sure you get paid, that you're paid out in a timely manner, that you have accounting, that you don't have to deal with tenants, that if there's a maintenance issue that arises, we handle that, and so on and so forth.
Okay. That's actually a little bit different than what I heard in your webinar. The prices. I think you had $395 in the webinar and $150 renewal, but then it was 8% of the rent.
Oh, well, I mean,
Anyway,
would honor.
not a
I
big
would,
deal, but it all seems pretty close to that.
yeah. And if that's what you want to do, I would honor. That's an older webinar, and
Hmm.
thank you for letting me know that there's old stuff on there. But that's if you wanted me to honor that, I would. So up to you.
Well, let's run with it, whatever your current numbers are, and yeah, as far as next steps go, why don't I would appreciate a little rental analysis, whatever you can put together. If you'd like, I'd be happy to send you the pictures I have, if that would just help you put together that report.
That would.
And
that'd be great.
And potentially, I don't know about your availability Friday, but I know my mom is in town and she could meet someone to show the property on Friday.
I could do Friday. Friday morning would be better for me, like 10 to 11, somewhere in there.
Okay. I would need to talk to her to set up an exact time, but we can see what we can put together there.
Okay, then how about you and I? If you can get me the photos soon, I can do this analysis by tomorrow, and we can have a follow-up call tomorrow or Wednesday. Up to you.
Yeah, either sounds good. I can email the photos. I can do it right after this phone call, actually. And yeah, talk in the next day or two. If you just want to email me and let me know when you're ready, we can just schedule a time from there.
Well, let's just set up. Is this a good time, like a little bit later in the day tomorrow for you?
Yeah, this should work. About 4 o'clock.
Let's do tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Okay, 4 p.m. It does vary a little bit. I'm actually off work this week, so I know we've got some family trips planned. But
okay.
What we can tentatively say 4 p.m. tomorrow, and if I need to reschedule, can I just email you?
Sure. It does 5 p.m. Is that better or worse?
I'd say it's hard to say right now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put it in for 5 p.m.
Okay.
And then you just I'll send you a calendar invite. You can cancel it, and then we can reschedule or whatever. But it'll be on there, and if you need to communicate about it, you know what to do.
Okay. Yeah, 5 p.m. Tuesday. Okay.
All right, Paul?
Yeah. So I think that pretty much covers it.
Excellent. Well, I'll get started on my end, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I love Santa Barbara. I think that's phenomenal that you have an opportunity to live there. That's literally if somebody said, where could you live the rest of your life, I would be Santa Barbara, where my wife and I spent a lot of time there, and man, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Paradise.
my wife actually grew up here, so that's part of the reason she still has some family that lives here. That's a big reason that we moved back, is to get some help with the kids. As I said, our second baby boy is going to be due in about 3 weeks here, so we need all the help we can get.
Amazing. Well, cool. I'll talk to you soon, and have a great evening.
Okay. Yeah. Good talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.